No one is talking about this. We've had a lot of Cavs news to break down over the last few weeks. Free agency, signings, and now Summer League. So we've been busy here at Cavs Digest, but there's one player who has not gotten his due. We need to talk about him today. Welcome to Cavs Digest, everybody. I'm your host today, Darayus Sethna. Thanks so much for taking some time to tune in. Before we get into today's video, make sure you like the video to start and subscribe to the Cavs Digest YouTube channel. We're always looking to hear your voice, your thoughts on the Cavs. Obviously, some big news going on with free agency. Summer League is in full swing now, so lots to break down, but we need to talk about this guy, and he is a player who I think is going to have a huge year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. A lot of different players I've been talking about who I think are going to have big years, but I want to talk about DeAndre Hunter. This is a guy who has not gotten his due, in my opinion, probably one of the more underrated players on this team, who is going to have probably one of the biggest impact, make one of the biggest impacts on this team for the 25-26 campaign. So as you remember, back on February 6th or 7th, it was that first Thursday in February, the NBA trade deadline, the Cavs really got a steal trade with the Atlanta Hawks. They traded Karis LeVert and Georges Niang, who were somewhat inconsistent on both the offensive and defensive end, to get a guy who was the complete opposite. One of the more consistent bench players in the NBA in DeAndre Hunter. And DeAndre Hunter, coming into this trade, was having a career year with the Atlanta Hawks. He was basically playing second option with Trae Young, and I'll get to that in a little bit later in the video. But ultimately, the Cavs took a big swing and got DeAndre Hunter, and what an addition it was to the team. Hunter just fits right in to what the Cavs were doing. He was a major spark down the stretch for the Cavs to really came in at the perfect time in mid-February, helped propel them to make that postseason run that was so critical for them to continue their march to the 1 seed, which they ultimately achieved, winning 64 games, and played a major role in that first round sweep for the Cavs against the Miami Heat. Was, killing Miami from the perimeter, doing whatever he wanted offensively. But it's really the defense to me that stands out to DeAndre Hunter. He can go score whenever he wants, but his emphasis on defense is really what impresses me the most. And, lastly, he just fit right in. He fits seamlessly into the Cavs culture. The team's teammates got along with him just fine. He's not a ball-dominant guy. He doesn't demand the ball. He is simply what Cleveland fans are all about. Just a guy that's going to come in and do his work. No nonsense, no talking. Just going to come in, do whatever the team needs him to do to win. And that's what he did. Fit perfectly into the Cavs culture. Getting some numbers here for DeAndre Hunter. Mentioned he was coming off a career year with Atlanta before he got traded to Cleveland. And this is big, right? He's averaged about 27 minutes per game. Now, he was starting in Atlanta for the first half of the NBA season, so those numbers might be a little bit higher because of the fact that he spent that first season with the Hawks, who obviously just don't have the talent or firepower that the Cavs currently do. But nonetheless, still averaging 17 points per game. The rebounding, too, that's another part of DeAndre Hunter's game that I think is a little underrated. His defense and his rebounding in particular is going to be very helpful for the Cavs, has been helpful, and I think is going to continue in that direction. About 1 to 2 assists per game. Really what jumps out to me, though, is his efficiency. It's that field goal per shooting 47% from the field and then about 41% from three. He's not going to take bad shots, and that's what I love about DeAndre Hunter. He's not going to, force something up. He's going to take a quality shot, and that's why his percentages are rather high, because he has the ability to take, make open shots, and then if he needs to create off the dribble as well, he can do that. He's really your jack of all trades type player on offense and defense, and that's what makes him such a big component to this Cavs team. And I also want to talk about DeAndre Hunter, what he said after the Cavs were eliminated in 5 games by the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs this past year. This was really one of the more recent quotes I was able to pick from DeAndre Hunter. Again, this is a guy who's quiet. He's not going to make noise in the offseason. He's just going to go and do his work. But nonetheless, I really liked this quote. Since I got to Cleveland, we've been a well-knit group, so win or loss, we always stayed together. We always kept positive vibes. And I think that's the thing I'll probably miss the most from this season, because he said, I don't know if this team's going to stay the same or what happens. Things change every year. And that's certainly been the case this offseason so far. But then he talked about, the loss to Indiana. It's still within the context of life. It's always about how you bounce back from things like this. And I have no doubt that if there's anybody who's going to bounce back from this, it's going to be DeAndre Hunter. I just think, he's someone who, like I said, doesn't demand the ball at all. You basically fits seamlessly into the offense. And I think it's really important that Cavs fans give the credit that he deserves, right? This is he doesn't have the star power of someone like, Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell, or even here with Trae Young, but he is critical for your team if you want him to win. Actually, DeAndre Hunter finished 4th in 6th Man of the Year voting for this past NBA season, 4th place. And I think this year he has the opportunity and certainly the potential to move up in those rankings. Possibly, and you heard it here first, possibly win 6th Man of the Year. I covering the Cavs, I believe it's DeAndre Hunter's time this year, and I think that this is going to be his award to lose. Going back to what I was talking about earlier with the Atlanta Hawks, Hunter, because of the loss of DeJounte Murray from Atlanta, he was really the secondary scorer for Atlanta behind Trae Young. But DeJounte Murray left, and that forced DeAndre Hunter to really step up and be more of a focal point in Atlanta's offense. And he had a really stellar first half of the season with Atlanta. Like I said, averaging about 17 points per game in those first few months of the season. And then overall, his time with the Hawks, being drafted by them in 2019, so spent for about 5 or 6 years of his career in Atlanta, averaged about 15 points a game, 4 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and here's the big one, 37% from three-point range. So DeAndre Hunter basically came into this league ready to do work, and you can see he's only gotten better and better, and now here he is contributing, being one of the top bench player for the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So really what I saw from him in Atlanta is why I was excited when the Cavs traded for him, and is why I'm even more excited to see what he can do with a full season under his belt for the 25-26 campaign. So I want to talk about also why DeAndre Hunter is a dark horse 6th Man of the Year candidate too. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the video. Jack of all trades. This guy literally can do whatever you want on the basketball court. He's got handles. He can create his own shot. He can catch and shoot. He's efficient from the free throw line. And, he can if you need him to take over a game, let's say for some reason Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, they're all out, and you're playing mostly bench guys. DeAndre Hunter, I think, has the potential to take over a game, and that is why I think when the Cavs are healthy, he and I think should be the favorite to win 6th Man of the Year. Has not done it yet in his career, but I think this will finally be the year that he breaks out, because I think you've seen a lot of changes on this Cavs bench, right? Ty Jerome is gone. Sam Merrill extended. Larry Nance is back. Lonzo Ball. Still a lot of question marks with him. What is he going to look like? I talked about that in my video last week. So this is really a great opportunity for DeAndre Hunter to really set the tone for the Cavs bench. He's going to be that guy that Kenny Atkinson is looking to and saying, hey, we need a spark off the bench. DeAndre Hunter, it's on you now, right? You don't have necessarily, Ty Jerome to handle the offense anymore. And like I said, what is Lonzo Ball going to look like? There's a lot of question marks on this Cavs bench. Although it's exciting, we don't know what it's going to look like. But we do know who DeAndre Hunter is. We've seen him play his game and produce even under the spotlight of bigger superstars, under the shadows of bigger superstars like Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. The list goes on. His ability to just fit seamlessly into an offense and a defense really is why I think he will be the NBA 6th Man of the Year, and why he just overall deserves more credit for what he did to really just help propel the Cavs this past season. Kind of just fit in and really helped elevate that bench unit. It was very impressive. So that's really the big take for me in this video. I think DeAndre Hunter is going to have the best season of his career coming off the bench for Cleveland, and I believe it will lead to an NBA Sixth Man of the Year campaign. Because if you think about it, I mean, look at some of the other teams in the NBA. Peyton Pritchard, who will be the reigning Sixth Man of the Year, he might be starting a lot of games for the Boston Celtics with the injury to Jason Tatum, the loss of Drew Holiday, trading Drew Holiday. How much is Derek White going to be able to do? So Peyton Pritchard probably will be starting a lot more games for the Celtics than DeAndre Hunter will for the Cavs, if the Cavs stay healthy. That's the big question mark. We saw it really deteriorate them in the playoffs last year. We'll see what happens. But that's really what I've got today. Like I said, just wanted to give DeAndre Hunter his due credit, because this is a guy who I think is going to play a major factor for the Cavs next season. And what do you have to say about this? Do you think DeAndre Hunter should be the top candidate for Sixth Man of the Year? Where do you think he falls in those rankings when it comes to sixth men in general? Where do you think DeAndre Hunter fits? What do you expect from DeAndre Hunter this season as well? I think he's going to have to really be a key piece coming off that bench if the Cavs want to continue their winning ways next season. That concludes my video for today here on Cavs Digest. But before I go, just want to remind you again, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Cavs Digest YouTube channel. Always love hearing what you have to say. I've been reading some of the comments. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. It's always it's been a blast here, my first couple weeks here doing the show. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Darayus Sethna, and I'll see you next time right here on Cavs Digest.